Welcome everybody to our Science Museum. We are the second media of the International School of Pavia. Good morning everyone. Today we are going to talk about the falling stars. We can start saying that falling stars are stars like meteors, so fragments of asteroids or other celestial bodies that when they start to enter in the Earth's atmosphere, they then ignite the diffraction. They have different sizes that can be like a grain of sand or big like a small stone. Meteor showers are astronomical phenomena that consist of the fall of a large number of meteors, or commonly called shooting stars. The best known meteor showers are pulsates, and we can see them during summer. There are many differences between falling stars and comets, but the most important one is their tail, the luminous tail, because the one of meteors is created by friction, while one of comets is created by the sublimation of the solid components present in their chemical composition.
In this room, we will speak about amphibians. Amphibians are small vertebrates that need water or a moist environment to survive. The species in this group includes frogs, toads, salamanders, and newts. All can breathe and absorb water through their very thin skin. Amphibians will pretty much eat everything live that they can fit in their mouths. This includes bugs, slugs, snails, other frogs, spiders, worms, mice, or even birds and bats. If the frog is big enough and the bird or the bat is small enough. Amphibians have adapted to survive in many different types of habitats. They can be found in forests, woodlots, meadows, springs, streams, rivers, lakes, ponds, bogs, marshes.
Good morning, everyone. Today we're talking about solar system, planet, and the zodiacal signals. Every zodiacal sign have a planet. Now we're going to see in particular or the zodiacal signs that are divided also in 4 groups: the signals of fire, of earth, of air, and of water. The zodiacal signs are Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Lion, Virgo, Libra, Scorpion, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Fishes. The planets are for Aries, Mars, Taurus, Venus, Gemini, Mercury, Cancer, the Moon, the Lion is the Sun, Virgo, Mercury, Libra is Venus, Scorpion is Mars, Sagittarius is Jupiter, Capricorn is Saturn, Aquarius is Uranus, and for Fishes is Neptune.
Good morning and welcome to the sleeping room. In this room, you will discover many facts about sleeping and dreams. Sleeping, as you can see here, is divided into 4 phases called non-REM, 5 with the REM phase. During the first phase, the muscle tone decreases, breathing becomes slower and more regular, and heart rate slows down. 10 minutes later, the first phase begins the second. This phase is mainly characterized by one thing: sleep spindles. These spindles are waves with a frequency between 12 and 14 hertz. After another 10 minutes, stage 3, also called the deep sleep phase, begins, where delta waves occur. The frequency of these waves is less than 4 hertz. Delta waves also remain in the fourth phase, where we have a change in the physiological structure. In fact, after 90 minutes of sleep, you return gradually to phase 3 and 2 and finally to phase 7. We then move on the second room. In the fifth stage, the REM stage, we assist to rapid eye movement. The sky eyes are still closed. This is why it is called REM, rapid eye movement. In this phase, the muscle tone decreases and respiratory and heart rhythms become irregular. The last room is the dreams room. They are often confused about hypnagogic hallucinations and dreams that have different. Dreams are the result of a brain activation and the work of synthesis. They appear at the top of the sleep curve and they are not remembered when you wake up. While the hypnagogic hallucinations are fantastic experiences, they give a feeling of reality when you meet them and are what we remember when we wake up. They both develop during the REM phase. This is because dreams and REM phase are controlled by a different brain mechanism, so they do not simultaneously.
Welcome. In this room, we will see in detail the Parkinson disease. This is a neurodegenerative disease, which means it mainly attacks neurons. This disease is extremely common in older people. A peculiarity is that its evolution is extremely slow. Although it's very frequent, the causes are not yet fully known. We already know that there are some particular characteristics that can make it develop. Among the characteristics, we can find genetic characteristics. In fact, if someone in your family has contracted this disease, it's likely to recur in future generation. Toxic factors. Being in contact with certain types of chemicals, such as pesticides or welders, can lead to the contraction of this disease. The symptoms of this disease are many and not totally clear. Among them are that the patient may suffer tremors during the rest phase. However, this condition does not develop every time. In fact, not all suffers at this characteristic. Rigidity is one of the first symptoms, but not all patients notice this behavior. Slow movement is one of the most common, but also the most annoying, since it does not allow you to perform all your normal daily actions. In the most advanced stage of this disease, the patient may also have balance problems. This mainly due to the fact that the patient is not able to spontaneously correct any imbalances. Diagnosing Parkinson is not very easy. In fact, before being able to actually diagnose this disease, we need to do many controls. This disease does not foresee a real cure. There are countless drugs to contain it, but nothing to destroy it permanently. Many experimental treatments are being developed at this time, but we still have no definitive cure. Welcome, and in this room we are going to talk about the solar system. So we start talking about Mercury. Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun. It is a terrestrial type planet, and it hasn't satellites or any rings, and is the smallest planet in the solar system. Venus is the second planet of the solar system. It is a terrestrial type planet. It's very bright and we can see it from the Earth. It has some phases. Its surface can be fully illuminated or partially or completely dark. It depends from the position. Earth is the third planet, is the only planet where humans can live. It rotates around the Sun with a revolving motion and rotates on itself with a counterclockwise rotation motion. Mars is the first planet. It's a terrestrial type planet, and it has a cycle of a season like the Earth. This can be seen from the ice caps that are at the poles that change size according to the seasons.
Jupiter is the fifth planet. It is a gaseous planet and it's the biggest planet for mass and dimensions. It has a beam of different colors and it doesn't have a solid surface. Saturn is the sixth planet and the second for dimension after Jupiter. It is a gaseous planet and it has 31 satellites and a ring system. Uranus is the seventh planet of the solar system. It was discovered only because some people thought it was a star, and it is made of ice. Neptune is the eighth planet of the solar system. It is a gaseous system and it's composed by rocks and ice, and it has an atmosphere. In this atmosphere, there are a lot of storms.
There are many species of extinct animals. The most important are mammals, the tiger with the saber teeth, and the most unteethed dinosaurs. Dinosaurs become extinct following the impact of a large meteorite, and there are 30,400 different species of the dinosaurs. There are many extinct plants and some that were believed to be extinct, but a few still living specimens have been found that are now under observation. The most recent extinct plant is Polygonatum in 1930. Black holes are a mystery of nature, and many studios and scientists have wondered about this phenomenon. Black holes are very fascinating because of their color, but they are also dangerous because once you enter in one of these fascinating phenomena, you will never be able to get out of it again. So science is deeply its studies on this phenomenon, but not much is known about these huge black holes yet. Something we know because we know that in astrophysics, a black hole is a celestial body with a gravitational field a lot intense, and it's so intense that it does not collect matter or electromagnetic radiation. So finally, a black hole is a region of space-time with a sufficiently large curvature that nothing from within it can escape, not even light.
Good morning, everybody. Today we'll talk about food. The first question you might have is, what is food? Food is very important for our organism and for our life in general. Foods provide nutrients for our body. The essential nutrients are 5. Proteins are in meat, fish, and eggs. Proteins are made from 20 different components that are called amino acids. Carbohydrates are in rice, bananas, and others. Carbohydrates contain a nutrient called starch. Fats are found in milk, fish, and cheese. Fats are built from 2 types of molecules, glycerol and fatty acids. Vitamins and minerals are found in fish, fruit, and vegetables. You need them in much smaller amounts than other nutrients. Fibers are found in beans and lentils. Fibers aren't nutrients, but they are important. To stay healthy, you need a balanced diet. A balanced diet is a diet that contains the right amount of each nutrient.
After what happened with Corona, of virus, we can't talk a lot about it, but now I'm going to do an overview. Virus are some very little organisms that can damage the cells of all the organisms and can get infected. As I said, the virus can be very harmful because they can. The only thing that they can do is reproducing, and they do that only if they have a cell. In fact, although viruses can be harmful, they can even be helpful. In fact, without the good viruses, you can't live. And some scientific resources say that without the viruses, the children wouldn't be alive if when a woman is pregnant. And like that, we can think that without, there aren't only bad viruses, because we know that there are them, but there are even much more good viruses. As I said before, the viruses get inside the cell to reproduce. And once the virus gets his DNA inside the cell, it multiplies, and like that, there are many viruses inside the cell, and like this, once they're out, they break the cell, and they're ready to go and infect more cells because they're even more. And after, like, for example, in the virus situation of the COVID, at the beginning of the virus, we didn't have a solution, so we used the medicines. But now that we study it more, we know that now there are the vaccines that can help us, and we don't get the virus.
Good morning and welcome everybody. We will be talking about schizophrenia, a disease that affects many people nowadays. Let's start with the first one. So what is schizophrenia? It's a mental illness characterized by relapsing episodes of psychosis, which are conditions of the mind that involve the loss of contact with the reality. There aren't really any medication to cure schizophrenia. Most of them just help to decrease the symptoms. They also can't assure their success, considering that most of them are still in phase of testing. However, the first-line treatment is antipsychotic, that, as the name suggests, helps to manage psychosis, as it tries to balance the chemical in the brain. Major symptoms include hallucinations, typical hearing voices, delusions, disorganized thinking, so basically mental confusion, social withdrawal, enjoying being alone, decreased emotional expression, and apathy. The latter causes difficulties in socialization. These symptoms usually start showing up in young childhood and then increase gradually. In many cases, they never resolve. Off to the second room. The origins of schizophrenia may be many, such as some substances used or genetics, but they all led to an imbalance of chemicals in our brain, causing all the symptoms that I mentioned before. In the picture on the right, you can see the CT scan of a brain of a person with schizophrenia. The last topic for today is schizophrenia in society, and even if people are becoming more accepting with other people affected by such diseases, schizophrenia is still a taboo topic. That's why we should all start spreading awareness on these topics on the wall. They are already doing the big steps by creating books, films, and TV series to sensibilize people, such as Free Christ and Words on Walls.
Galileo Galilei was a physicist born in Pisa in 1564, and he died on the January 8th of 1642. His inventions. He invented the experimental scientific method that was divided in 5 parts. He perfected the microscope previously made by the Chinese. He put the lens 10 per and 100 per, and then he did the same thing with the telescope. And thanks to the telescope, he understood that the Earth was not flat but round. And for this, he risked death because the Christian religion said that the Earth was flat. Good morning. Today we are going to talk about Einstein. Albert Einstein is the scientist who discovered relativity. General relativity is the theory of gravitation that was developed by Einstein between 1907 and 1915.
According to general relativity, the observed gravitational attraction between masses results from the warping of space and time by these masses. General relativity has developed into an essential tool in modern astrophysics. It provides the foundation for the current understanding of black holes, regions of space where gravitational attraction is so strong that not even light can escape. As Einstein said later, the reason for development of general relativity was the preference of inertial motions within special relativity was unsatisfactory, while a theory which from the outset prefers no state of motion should appear more satisfactory. Consequently, in 1907, he published an article on acceleration under special relativity. The Bose-Einstein condensate, or back from the English Bose-Einstein condensate, is a particular state of matter in which bosons are cooled to a fraction of a degree above absolute zero, starting to behave as a whole rather than as separate particles, and also maintaining at the microscope level at the quantum properties that they exhibit at the microscope level. For example, by behaving as waves and not as particles. The bag can be formed from gas with a low density of ultra-cold atoms, or from the quasiparticles within solids as exciton or polaritons. Theorized in 1924 by Albert Einstein and Satyendranath Bose. It was first observed in 1995. Einstein Rose Bridge or space-time tunnel, also called a wormhole, in Italian literally wormhole, is a hypothetical topological feature of space-time. The wormhole is often called a gravitational tunnel, highlighting the gravitational dimension that is closely interconnected with the other two dimensions, space and time. This gravitational singularity has at least two ends, connected to a single tunnel or burrow, being able to travel from one extreme to another, passing through it.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome in the first room. In this section of the museum, as we have already understood, we are going to talk about the bird family. Birds, followed Aves by Linnaeus, are a class of vertebrates. This means that they derive from dinosaurs. In fact, the reptiles are not the closest relative of dinosaurs, but birds, yes. This is likely because the dinosaurs look very similar to the birds. For example, the Tyrannosaurus rex looks like a very big chicken, also because it has the features, but not so many. However, the best example to describe the transition from birds of the past to the birds of today is the Archaeopteryx, a winged dinosaur with feathers, with a beak, and with other characteristics of birds. Birds have a particular body structure, which especially help them to fly. They have hollow bones. This means that they are empty inside to let the air pass to make them lighter. To make the body lighter, the birds have also aerial sacs that go into the hollow bones. They have a small skull with a plated mouth, which gives the body a more aerodynamic shape. The muscles are inserted in a hole that is reached in the sternum and allows the movement of the wings. The wings are formed by the feathers, which are the insulator, and by pants, which help to fly. There are two main types of pants, the remnant pants and the ghost pants. The remnant pants cover the wings and are vertical. The ghost pants cover the tail and are used to give the direction. The most important part of these pants are the calamus, that is the part stuck to the skin that holds the pants attached to the bird's body. The rachis, that is the continuation of the calamus from where the banner is formed. The banner is formed by smaller filaments, barbers and birds. In the banner there are also the amylase, which makes the penguin more compact and more aerodynamic. Birds are oviviparous, so they produce eggs. In their eggs there is amnion, a kind of sac that's filled with liquid and protect the embryo. The birds have very good parents. In fact, as soon as their chicks are in the eggs, they use the parental care. They build a nest to protect them. Uh, they sit on the eggs to keep them warm, and then they take care of them even after they're born, bringing them food and helping them to fly. As far as communication is important also for birds. In fact, they communicate with each other by singing thanks to the syrinx, an organ located in the lower end of the trachea. Obviously, each bird has its own way of singing. One of the most studied is the way of singing of storks. In fact, these have a quite bizarre way of communication. They open and close their beaks to sing. There are several types of birds. The ones we will talk about today are the apters and the birds of prey. Apters are birds that cannot fly, so although they have wings, they cannot fly, but they can use their winged arm in other way. For example, being used them for swimming. Birds of prey are predatory birds that they eat other animals. They hunt with beak, with claw, and they will their shelf with the excellent eyesight. There are the usual birds of prey, such as the golden eagle and elk, and nocturnal birds of prey, such as the owl and the barnacle. As you already know, humans take advantage of the nature that surrounds them, and unfortunately, birds are also affected. In fact, humans have continued to use these animal sciences at times. For example, the Egyptians used carrier pigeon to send messages. Another example is the fitted dresses, which have been used since the times of Neanderthal. Today, birds are used more in the kitchen and to young pillows.